Boy here, and welcome to a video. Actually, we're going to be talking about the SpongeBob season 16 special, SpongeBob and Patrick's timeline twist up. Now, I know the special is advertised since May right now, but there is something that very intrigued me, and something that made me kind of inspired me to think of this idea. So, what if this episode had a video game tie in to this episode? So you're probably wondering, how would this how would this be relevant to this episode? How would this be different from the episode? Well, there are some actually things I would actually point out. One, there's only 9 levels in this game, similar to Creature from the Krusty Krab, mind you. And two, it would have been based on the promos of this episode, so we don't even know what references they're gonna do. But from what I predict from this special is that my prediction there is my theory or prediction of this episode is gonna be is that after the stars messed up the time period, the timeline, SpongeBob and Patrick must go back to season 1 SpongeBob, to the first episode of SpongeBob, and ask him to team up so they can stop the stars from destroying the future, the his SpongeBob's past. So let me get started. So level 1 would have been based on Rip Pants, where Cecil Star must rip his pants to make people laugh. So you're probably wondering how specifically do it exactly like in the episode. Level 2 would have been based on Neptune's spatula, where Bonnie Star must cook many Krabby Patties faster than King Neptune in a competition, just like in the episode. Level 3 would have been based on Rock Bottom, where Squidina Star must find a way to escape Rock Bottom by exploring and collecting items so she can escape it. Level 4 would have been based on Grand Pep Star cooking many Krabby Patties for anchovies and must make the Krusty Krab must make the Krusty Krab go out of business. Level 5 would have been Patrick and SpongeBob exploring the Patrick Star Show's house, which is old basically by this point and outdated. Level 6 would have had SpongeBob and Patrick, I mean, not SpongeBob and Classic SpongeBob teaming up together as they have to refix the events of episodes. So, level 6 would have been refixing Repants and must sing Repants in a song sing off, and must send back Cecil to the present day before he ruins anything else, which is kind of a trend the last few levels have. Level 7 would have had SpongeBob and Classic SpongeBob must stop Bonnie Star from overpowering herself with a Triton wand that King Neptune gave her after she won the competition, like I said. Level 8 would have had SpongeBob and Classic SpongeBob helping past SpongeBob get a new balloon at Glove World and giving it back to him to escape Rock Bottom. And level 9 would have had the final boss, where SpongeBob and Classic SpongeBob must defeat Grandpat Star in an epic battle who is taking over Bikini Bottom. Yes, that's basically what the game would have been like. So you're probably wondering, I'm going to probably ask you guys, what do you think of that idea? Does that sound like something like the special would do or something else? Do you think Nickelodeon should have made this like weeks ago? Well, actually, yeah. Nowadays, Nickelodeon doesn't make as much as tie-in games to episodes anymore, and that sucks because I would have actually loved to see Big Birthday Blowout, Creepaway Camp, and this episode got the video game treatment. Just to at least hype up the fans anyway. That would have made more sense personally. I know that I shouldn't be judging too much on Nickelodeon part, but honestly, I think this could be like this could be like the final episode. Not the final episode. This could be like what the episode would finalize be basically, where they do go back, where they have gone back in time, and basically what they would have done. So yeah, I'm just saying right now that this is what I predict the episode will be basically. It kind of is like Sonic Generations, but for SpongeBob, to be fair. And I thought already True for Square was Sonic Generations for the SpongeBob franchise anyway. Sorry if I'm comparing it to. Sorry if I was comparing True for Square video game to Sonic Generations, because I feel like Sonic Generations is way better. It's a way better game. And also just kind of more one of my favorite Sonic games. Or no, actually, I think I may prefer True for Square a little bit, even though I know that's gonna make a lot of people a little upset at me for that, even though I don't care. Anyway, you're probably wondering, do I think that's how the final episode is gonna be? Basically, yes. I feel like this is how this special will go down, basically. And then after the final boss battle, SpongeBob and SpongeBob, classic SpongeBob goes back into his own, universe, dimension, and then modern SpongeBob goes back to his regular future self. Sort of like Sonic Generations. But you're probably wondering, what would SpongeBob do in this game? Well, actually, you know what? I'm gonna bring some nostalgia, but the enemies are gonna be robots again. It would have been the robots from Battle for Bikini Bottom, and some of the enemies from the movie game, and some of the enemies in True for Square. It would basically the enemies would have been a mix of a lot of the SpongeBob video games be like, and SpongeBob's moveset would have been altered. Classic SpongeBob would have been fully 2D gameplay, but for 3D but for modern SpongeBob would have had 3D collectathon platforming and would have had more platforming to do. And the game would have been structured like Battle for Bikini Bottom, actually. Or maybe the movie game. Like, honestly, I have no idea why didn't Nickelodeon... I think Nickelodeon kind of missed the opportunity to make a tie-in game to this episode, because I feel like if you did that, you could have boosted up sales of the next SpongeBob game being developed. Even though I'm pretty sure Nickelodeon didn't think of much before waiting for this episode to air, so it would be, bigger than expected. So, yeah, that's what I predict the game's going to be like. That's what I predict what the episode's going to be like, and how a video game would have been interesting for this for a couple of reasons. One is because the last time they did a SpongeBob video game based on an episode was Runaway Road Trip miniseries from 2011. and we hadn't had one since. Like, no birthday blowout video game, no creepaway camp video game, and we're probably not gonna get a video game for this one either, so that sucks. Because I really wish that we had more. I wish the TV movies had video. The modern ones have like a video game. Even though I know video games tie into episodes is kind of outdated by now, but you know what I mean, right? You're probably wondering though, do I think this could be possible if the video game existed, honestly, it would have actually been kind of. I think it would have actually probably would have been interesting, and people would have loved that. Because, like I said, if this did happen, I would tell you that also the game would have had two different gameplay styles. 2D, like in like in Super Sponge, would have had 2D side scrolling, and 3D collectathon. For classic SpongeBob, it's 2D platforming, like being a homage to Legend of the Lost Spatula and Super Sponge in all the GBA SpongeBob games. Anyway, and then for 3D, for modern SpongeBob, would have been in full 3D and collectathon, like I said before. So you get what I'm saying. It's kind of like Sonic Generations for the SpongeBob franchise. Which, you know what? They kind of missed out on an opportunity to make a video game based on this episode. Because I would have loved that. Just a video, like a Sonic Generation style SpongeBob game. That sounds like a masterpiece. And I'm pretty sure a lot of Sonic fans would have actually liked this too. Because seeing other shows get a Generation type game just sounds amazing. Like, like that would have been so cool. But of course, Nickelodeon. Like I said, they don't do video game anymore. They don't do video game tie-ins anymore, as much as they used to, which is a real shame. And heck, they didn't even make a video game based on Sponge on the Run anyway. Yeah, it kind of showed. It shows that sometimes a show doesn't. It kind of makes it's just kind of unfair. But what can you do? Anyway, I should mention this as well. I guess I should mention this as well, but I do think this would have made a perfect game to celebrate. This would have been a good tie-in to the episode. Heck, they could have had books based on this episode, just like they used to. Because I think nowadays, when Nickelodeon hypes up a new special, they barely have, like, DVD releases anymore, which kind of is a real shame. They just want to put in season releases anyway, which is kind of sad. Oh well, what can you do? I mean, I know it sucks, but what can you do? Anyway, back to what I was saying. So, what's your guys' overall thoughts on this SpongeBob video game idea? Do you think it could have worked? Do you think Nickelodeon would have done this? Do you think Nickelodeon would have had at least merchandise to promote their big special anyway? I don't know. I want you guys to figure that out. Because I will look in the comments section and see what you guys say about this video. Because like I said, it's kind of funny how Atlantis Squarpantis and True for Square and Runaway Road Trip and SpongeBob versus the Big One had video games, but none of the other specials had one. No Who Bought What Pants. No SpongeBob's Last Stand, no Great Patty Caper, no Classic Triton, no Legends of Bikini Bottom, no Goofles, no Frozen Face Off, no Hello Bikini Bottom, no It's a SpongeBob Christmas, no SpongeBob You're Fired. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I'm not being petty Rosabelle about it. I'm just being honest. Anyway, so I think that's my overall thoughts. So you guys know what to say. Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe. Follow me on every other on Twitter, Blue Sky, Amino, Snapchat. You know, the 4 ones I'm using. I'm not using Discord anyway, so I'm not using Discord anymore. So I guess I won't be able to talk to Dr. Ouija as much as I used to. And if I did wanted to talk to him on Twitter, um well, I can't, because one, I have to have premium to talk to him. Premium. I call that bull crap. I don't want to be like that type of guy that's like that negative, but come the heck on. Like, I noticed a lot of some of the specials definitely deserved a video game. Like, Who Bought What Pants is kind of one that kind of should have had a video game, honestly. I don't know why they didn't do that. I guess it's because SpongeBob games were, losing quality around 2007 or 2000. I guess, yeah, like maybe 2008 or 7. I don't know. Anyways, as I was saying, I think the reason why one of the reasons I feel like that Nickelodeon definitely needs to have more advertising and at least a DVD release to make more, to make it, more. I would personally would have done that, so you can have a DVD release of the episode when it comes out the like a few days later, and you know what I mean. It's kind of funny how Atlantis SquarePants and True for Square had video games, but the other specials didn't have video games. Well, oh yeah, Runaway Road Trip and SpongeBob vs. the Big One and the Classic Triton had a video game. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I already said everything else I can say. So thank you guys for watching. Follow me on Twitch, Snapchat, Blue Sky, Amino, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Cartoon Retro Boy is out.